All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Cowboys post-mortem. We have a losing record now. 49ers don't have a losing record anymore. That must be nice for them. That's Bryan Broaddus, 105.3 The Fan. Love the Star podcast with Botch Lombardi on YouTube, with me on YouTube, everywhere you're going to find him. I'm Jeff Cavanaugh from right here and from DLLS Sports and the DLLS Cowboys podcast, which you can find here on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. You did it. I'm sure you did it because I know you don't care how many hours you sleep. You wake up and you get the tape done for Monday morning. You did it, didn't you?
Yeah, I got home last night around 2, got up at 5:30, and just literally watched the last 49er offensive play minutes before I came on with you.
Oh, you're a whole psycho, but we love it and appreciate it. Please hit the like button to show your appreciation if you're here. And if you have any Cowboy questions about the game, feel free to fire them off in the chat for the great Bryan Broaddus. Can we start with, I know you'll want to do actual football, but can we start with, like, people got mad at me this morning on the internet because last night when Trevon Diggs said we could talk about D's nuts, when he got mad at Mike Leslie.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me something about it, and I said, I bet the reason that he's that upset is because Trevon Diggs has a reputation as a guy who doesn't want to be physical, doesn't want to be involved in tackling. And in the game against San Francisco, Trevon Diggs brought his big boy pants, and he was willing
physical
to take on blocks and fight and scrap and claw. And so he saw that and was like, what? I finally tried my best.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably why he was mad. And people were like, you should just tell him he sucks and call him out. And so I realized that people just want us to say everybody sucks today.
No, yeah. People are interested in, and luckily that you'll have an opportunity. I think everybody has the opportunity to go back and watch games if you want to purchase the NFL Plus package. You don't have to be a scout to watch that stuff. You can kind of figure out, it's a little bit difficult to understand who responsibility is for certain plays and stuff, and you try and kind of figure that out and maybe deduct a little bit. But I did not have a bit of problem with Diggs' physicality in that game last night and the way he played. There were a couple of times where he had to come up and make tackles, force the run back inside, play on the edge. He dealt with a lot of blockers and that's what San Francisco does. They will try and get as many blockers in your way as they can, and that's why they're effective in a lot of different ways. I can understand why Diggs is mad. It's unfortunate that he handled it the way he did, basically going into the locker room, probably checking his phone, having everybody, in his family or whatever, text him and say, hey, man, this is what's going on. Takes a look at that phone and then finds a reason to come back outside and confront Mike Leslie about it. He could have waited till Mike Leslie got in the locker room and then pulled him aside and said, listen, man, let me explain to you what the hell is going on here, and try and give him an explanation. I know myself, Jason Witten did it to me one time, just pulled me aside, brought me outside the locker room and said, hey, when have I run this route wrong? And I was kind of walking him through, and he goes, no, well, let me tell you what happened. And then, it was like, we good? We're good. Okay. And then we moved on with our day. But it's unfortunate. But Diggs was not your biggest problem. Matter of fact, I felt like defensively watching Dallas did some pretty decent things. They just didn't have a really good plan for handling Kittle, and that's the problem that you run into when you play the 49ers. But going into this game, you knew that they were going to be limited. No Ayuk, which is big for them. No Ayuk. And then, you get Deebo Samuel that's trying to catch his breath every other play. So you're really not going to get the best version of Deebo Samuel in that game. So where does it come down to? It comes down to their best offensive weapon, was Kittle. And they were able to run the ball with Mason. And what happens? Mason gets hurt. And Garendo, who, if you follow draft coverage of all of us, know the name very well from Louisville. He was a guy that was in that mix, ran really well, played well at the East-West game. Aisha Morrison, who you work with on a daily basis, was like, hey, Bryan, you need to look at this guy. He's a legitimate back. And she was right. And he's playing legitimate snaps. So, yeah, they really didn't handle Kittle well, and they really didn't handle the quarterback running very well. Quarterback made some really good decisions. Talking about their quarterback, made some really good decisions in that game when it came to pulling the ball down and then getting what he had to get.
Shout out to our friends that are in the super chat. We got Jeff in the super chat. Donovan Wilson is a terrible plan for Kittle. I agree with you. Jay, fair to say Zeke physicality was decent in that game. O-line missing block, the biggest issue for our offense. Need more explosion at running back. And what players should be on the trade block from C Black? Okay, we could actually hit all of those. I would say in the first half of that game, I thought that Zeke ran the ball well when he had a chance. The 11-yard run, I thought he did a nice job of being able to stay up and fight through some stuff. And generally speaking, he'll do that. My one thing about Zeke is you're just very limited in the amount of explosive plays that you could ever get.
Sure.
But yeah, I thought he was fine. Like, he was who he is. He's going to run tough. He's going to be physical. He's going to see where the hole is. That's Zeke. He's still got that. He just doesn't have the ability to go zoom, zoom. So yeah, I thought he was fine.
Can I say something about the back situation?
Thoughts and prayers for Rico and his health situation. Is that
it was kind of crazy. I the night before the game, I was kind of getting the vibe that they were going to go short on corners. You know, it wasn't anything about Rico or anything like that, but I was getting the vibe that Carson wasn't going to play and Booth wasn't going to play. And then also that meant that Deuce Vaughn wasn't going to play. So that all was kind of weird how that all went down before the game. Yeah, it's, you know, I'm not trying to defend the Cowboys here, but I feel like they had a plan for Rico being active in this game. I didn't get the vibe. It was they were, and I tweeted about it a couple of different times late in the evening. Like, people were asking me, well, who's going to be inactive? You know, and there was a lot of questions. I know Jesse Holly, another teammate of yours, was talking about, you know, who's going to be this? Are they going to really sit Zeke? Are they really going to da? And it was never going to be about sitting Zeke. It was going to be about, they were going to go short at corner is where they were. So I don't know if it's, I'm not trying to defend the organization. There might have been something really, really wrong with Rico Dowdle. I'm just saying that Saturday night before the game, it was Carson, Booth, Vaughn were the guys that were the main inactives with the guys that were injured. So I don't know if there was any sleight of hand stuff going on with that whole thing with Rico.
Well, it's going to be weird regardless, because apparently he said he woke up and had like 102-degree fever, and then they might have told some people flu. And I'm like, well, any of those things, if they're true, he shouldn't be on the field interacting with fans or his teammates.
Oh no, but that's, you know,
he just showed flu symptoms. So it's all weird, but whatever.
It's very weird. And if I could circle back in the game, this is where on the Dak interception, the first interception he had, you know, you've got, you know, you got Cook in the game blocking. And I've seen this before, and we saw it. Remember during the game when Zeke was able to chip and he caught the edge there in the ribs there.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it was a good, you know, a nice block to kind of help his tackle. Well, you've got Cook in the game. And the thing that I'm a little, because maybe he hasn't had a lot of time on task, that they single block on the outside with Steele on Bosa. But usually you could, if you're, you know, and the running back's looking straight ahead, he's kind of looking inside out, you know, and kind of trying to, and we've seen backs make pickups that have allowed the ball to go down the field. And in this one, Cook is like, you could see he's checking and he never looks outside. So all of a sudden he's standing in a position to maybe make a hero block. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not the scheme right block to make, but it's a hero block that all of a sudden the ball gets out and now it's far enough down the field to where Turpin has a chance to make a play. This might have to do with, and again, this is just me watching the tape this morning and talking to everybody today. They could have used a hero block on that play because Dak kind of drifts a little bit. His footwork, and this is something Dak always talks about, his footwork. Got to get better with the footwork. I know Chris Collinsworth and those guys were talking about it last night. Dak kind of drifts towards Bosa's side. and then it turns into an all-arm throw because he's got pressure. He's got he doesn't. It's not about stepping up, but if he gets a block from Cook there as a hero block, maybe there's a chance. Still double coverage down the field, but there was no route, Jeffrey. And when you watch it, you'll see this. There was no route that kept Brown in the middle of the field, the safety. There was just nothing there. It was like a smash route underneath, and then a smash, kind of an in and out route or a pivot route. And then it was just the vertical route. You watch the 49ers late in the game, they hit a ball. They hit a ball with Kittle coming across the field. And what do? They get a clear from Conley to the side. They're going to run getting to the crossing route. And now you're going, okay, there you go. Now you're carrying guys out of the way to make plays down the field. But there was that whole interception. Yeah. Bad by Dak drifting towards Steele. Bad by Steele getting beat inside. Maybe bad by Cooks not making a hero block to get the ball down the field. A lot going on there.
Yeah. Because I think I tend to start with standard disclaimer. He has to worry about both of his offensive tackles. I can look at the end of this game, and the last two plays of the game, when you got to have it, were throws to Cavante Turpin and Jalen Brooks. And that's not on Dak. These are guys that are on the field. That's your football team. They don't have the horses. Yeah. But given all of that, I still think he probably is trying to make too many plays, and he exists in a spot right now where your team isn't good enough, and you do have to be great if you're going to have a chance to have a good football team, but you can't approach it as if you have to be great, if that makes sense. Like he thinks he has to make every play. He's trying to make plays that he probably shouldn't, especially the second interception, and he tried to throw a third interception, and you can't do all of that. So you have to know in the back of your mind, yes, I have to be great to carry us while not playing that way on a play-in, play-out basis.
I'm gonna blame, and people hate when I do this. I think it was a terrible play call in the second interception. For
Mike said that too, right?
Yeah, I mean that's Mike has a responsibility to Dak. Now, Dak made a throw earlier in the game, rolling to his left, and threw the ball back inside to CeeDee Lamb for a big play. And okay, so they run the play where they're on the right hash, and now they're going to move the pocket left. And if Dak, I think it took Dak time to get himself set, running left. Lamb had separation right off the break. If the ball goes out, I mean, if it's move and throw, it's got a chance.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, it's move, set, and now you're in compressed situation. You've lost your separation. Dak doesn't get enough on the ball. CD, couldn't really. He's going backwards and he's trying to fight, but CD doesn't always fight. But, tried a little bit there. But to me, that's kind of a weird play call for there. I mean, you're taking your quarterback, who he's decent at doing, throwing to his left, but you're asking him to turn, get set up, get the ball out. It didn't seem like a very, very good call at the time. It really, really didn't. And, and when you go back and watch it, there's so many things wrong with it just because the amount of space and how constricted the area becomes and how hard it is for Dak to kind of get himself set in order to get the ball. And he can't get enough on the ball. But he can't make that throw either. He's got to either – the longer he waits on that throw, that ball needs to be out of bounds. It doesn't need to be like, oh, I'm going to try and just kind of fit it in there. If it turns into, okay, this is taking way too long, it's an extra half count too long, that ball needs to be into the bench, not where they can intercept it.
I like this guy says, why are you guys talking like hostages? Jerry Jones don't control here, my brother. we can tell you exactly what we think. I promise you.
What's his point? What's he pointing? What's that point that like we're making excuses for him.
Yeah, or defending the team or whatever. It is interesting. I do think that most it seems like a lot of people wake up today after that game and it's just like you have to tee off on everyone, and if you don't, then you're fill in the blank.
I've always believed in being fair, and the fairest way I could be to this team is watching the tape. And sir or ma'am, whoever's texting in, I got up way before you've ever done anything this morning, sir. So, watch the tape. So if you choose, I choose. If you choose violence, I'll choose violence today.
No, I just, to me, this team is, you're seeing.
They're not a good team. That's the thing about it is, but you're trying to explain why they're not a good team.
Right.
Some people don't want to hear that. They just want to hear you call them all motherfuckers for not playing great in the game. That's what they want to hear. They're coming on to see if you'll just blast them for not playing well. Like I say, there's guys like Golston, there's guys like Diggs that played pretty well in this game. The whole idea, though, is to be fair, but also, give you an idea of why things didn't work as well.
Yeah. And to me, it's still ultimately all the same thing. When you're talking about the final drive and you're trying to go win a football game,
those are four of the worst plays you can imagine a team running in that situation.
Well, and your football team is okay. So your responses seem very, very McCarthy. That is one of the primaries of what's wrong.
There were, the fourth down play that they ran to Turpin that converted was a really nice design. And, the problem I have with the Cowboys is they don't have explosive players on the outside. They just don't. Yeah, they talk about route running all you want today. The route that CeeDee ran on his second touchdown, the release that he had where they had the collision between the two defenders, was a really good route. Troy Aikman would be proud of that route.
Also, motion at the snap.
Motion at the snap to switch the routes, and then to allow CeeDee to work up the field the way he did. They switched, and it got them to switch. It went from a corner to a safety, and now they're up on so good design there. It's been few and far between the drives that got him back into the game. And it's not just creativity, it's execution, it's blocking, it's understanding that, okay, we can't leave guys alone one-on-one here. We got to try and help them if we can. And then, let's see if we can get CeeDee Lamb going in this game. The problem is you couldn't get anybody else going in the game too. Tolbert made the great play where he came back to the football. That was his best play of the game. They just don't have anybody else. You think, okay, well, it's Ferguson and other. They just don't have it. But the four plays, you go back, I challenge you, there's nothing. Now, Turpin, Dak put that ball in a really good spot. He put that ball, and people are saying, well, his feet might have been. No, watch the tape, slow it down. You'll see if he catches the football, the ball goes, he tracks the ball, and he missed times. I thought his hands were late. His hands were there, but I thought they were just a tick late getting up and getting in position. So then the ball is on top of his left hand, and he's not able to kind of high point the football. But he catches that ball, it looks like both feet are going to come down and bounce right there. So, that was a miss. But the four plays that they ran looked like some of those plays they ran in the third quarter. Nobody was open. Everything was you're throwing the ball to Brooks and he gets tripped up. He's double covered. They got CeeDee double covered on the other side. There was nothing. There was nothing for Dak to do. And again, he made a damn good throw to Turpin. He should have been rewarded on that. But he had some struggles in that game, as did the offense as a whole.
Yeah, I think Jerry Jones told us what this season was going to look like. I mean, in between times when he just made up words and just threw them out there like all in, and then I'm all in on whoever I have here. Like, he told you that this team was going to have to do more with less, and he meant it. This is who you're going to have. They're not looking for help. They're looking for long-term what's going to happen, and you're going to get what you're going to get this year. And that's hard. So your football team is not good. That's tough. You have no depth. You're beat up. Your offensive skill guys aren't good enough. And you're going to have to, if you're going to win a game against San Francisco, if you're going to be really, really good, the $60 million man is going to have to be
good.
Perfect.
margin of error. The margin of error for this team is not very, very good.
Yeah.
The margin of error, they have to almost catch breaks. The fourth down crossing route to Deebo Samuel was a huge break.
Yeah.
You all out blitz and you're not even close.
Yeah.
And what happens is that Purdy panicked on the play and he really had more time than he thought he had. And if he leads Deebo, that's a first down. But that's how Dallas is playing in some of these games. The margin of error is so small that they can't afford. They can't afford to have anything. They almost have to have breaks go their way in order to have some success with some of their plays.
Is there anything that is actually actionable? Like, for example, what's jumping to my mind is probably what jumps to a lot of people's mind. Well, it ain't hard for George Kittle to destroy Donovan Wilson on a route on the football field. Mm-hmm. Can we get Wanye? Can we get Marquise Bell? Is there anything out there that you think could actually be changed that might give you a better chance?
You know what they did? They put McQuamu on Kittle late in the game. That final drive, they finally said, listen, this is where I blame Mike Zimmer for this. And I said it earlier. Deebo Samuel compromised. No Ayuk. You got to worry about the running game. Garindo did a great job coming in. Purdy did an even better job running the ball. The best weapon they had in that football game was George Kittle. George Kittle should have been treated like a wide receiver. He should have been treated. You don't play off coverage on George Kittle and allow him to run routes. You just don't do it. He kills you. You saw exactly what George Kittle. By the way, the pick play, that was bullshit. That is a bullshit play. When you watch it, Conley had no intention of, you're supposed to turn, square up, trying to at least locate the ball, find the ball, act like you're running a route. That was a block is what that was. And, Terry McCauley last night covering his ass for the referees. Oh no, Lewis shoved him in. That is such bullshit. When you watch it, he goes down inside and just destroys Wilson on the play, So, that's if teams, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys and I see that from now on, goal line, short yardage, whatever, I am running, I'm blocking like that. That's what I'm going to do. Because if that's what you're telling me we can do here, let's do that.
You're setting yourself up to be double mad because they're just going to call it.
Well,
they're going to call
it. That's what. Two officials threw their flag. Yeah. Two officials, not one official. Two officials threw their flag. Mm-hmm. Side judge, back check, boom, both threw their flags on that play. And you're telling me, they're both wrong? Oh, okay. See, this is that part I'll be mad about. But that's what I'm saying about covering George Kittle. That's they're trying to create opportunities, but you can't play off coverage against George Kittle. You have to try and disrupt him from getting up the field. And teams like Kansas City and others that play him, that have safety play, that's a quality safety play. Yeah. You need to treat him like a wide receiver. That's really what he is.
And that's tough on the goal line like that, because I feel like the Cowboys were, and Mike Zimmer, this week was really, really, really trying to say, look, we're going to stack the hell out of the box and try not to let you run, because it's hard. Like playing man defense on the goal line, you're setting yourself up for that. Yeah. But they also were really, really, really hoping that they were able to stop the run, and so you play man, and guess what?
We talked about it last week, Jeff, last Thursday when we were breaking this game down. There's two things in this football game that held true for me, is that even if you stack the box, you're still a bad run defense. Yeah. You play 8-man in the box, there's still – now, I'm not saying the run defense was completely terrible. There were some toss sweeps and stuff where we mentioned about Diggs, Golston, guys like that fighting their ass off to get outside, to play off blocks, to make a play. It wasn't totally terrible. Like I say,
when they came right at you, though.
Yeah, the quarterback running was a big factor in this game. This is Chris Collinsworth, which is amazing to me. The man gets paid millions of dollars to talk football, and if you prep for this game, you would understand. And look at the metrics on it. And he was like, well, why they keep blitzing him here? Why they keep blitzing him in gun? Well, they're blitzing him in gun because 75% of the time underneath center, they're running the football.
Yeah.
Mike Zimmer made a determination that if you're in gun, you're not running the football. So, yeah, let's blitz. It'd been nice if Chris Collinsworth would have said that last night. You know what?
Well, he
Hey,
also I feel like he'll just go with whatever he has said, even if it didn't work out for him. Cause he's like, and look on this one, Purdy is going to take a shot and he's not touched at all on a throw. And then another one he said, and look at this incredible route by Kittle where he literally just runs across the field.
That's that to me, when you go into this game, we talked about it all week in preparation for this game. When they're under center, they're running the football. That was Dallas's key. When they're in shotgun, they're going to throw. That's why Mike Zimmer brought pressure the way he did. And, there was times where they clearly didn't get enough pressure. Clearly didn't get enough pressure.
Well, they don't have that part just sucks.
Like they don't have the players. They
show me the team that is going to do well at a part of the game where your 4 top guys are out.
Yep.
If your 4 top corners are out, I promise you can't cover. If your 4 top receivers are out, it's going to be hard to throw the ball. If your 4 top offensive linemen are out, you're dead in the water.
Right.
Missing their 4 top edge guys. That sucks.
Yeah. You needed, like we talked about, though, you needed the Pittsburgh game last night, and you almost got it. Pittsburgh game, you drove the ball down the field, you scored the game-winning touchdown, and you thought, man, this has got a possibility, especially the way Dallas had moved the ball in the 4th, But it looked like when you watch those 4 plays, you're going to swear you were looking at the third quarter offense again.
Sajid Mozzie Smith, 119 of 119, had me dead. Yes, he is Pro Football Focus's lowest rated defensive tackle in all football. C. Black, does McCarthy make it to the Thanksgiving game?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, they're not gonna make any coaching changes.
They're just I think that it might be possible, except there's literally no one on this team that you could give the job to.
Well, they could do it. They could give it to Bones Fossil. And by the way, Bones Fossil needs to stop with his foolishness of penalties.
Right, you can't give it to the special team coach who they keep getting penalties.
But one time I think when Jeff Fisher got let go, Bones Fossil was the guy. But you got Mike Zimmer on the staff. I don't know about, like I said, to me it seems like they would do something with Bones. He would probably get the opportunity. But yeah, every time you look up, there's some penalty. Opening penalty, opening kickoff, there penalties, problems.
I think it was the first 3 kick returns they had a penalty.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
You're starting from the 11 and the 25, and they're gifting you the 30, and you can't even have that.
Yeah, Mike talks about penalties all the time. Your special teams coach finds 3 or 4 of them a game.
It's great.
Yeah.
But
I just, to me, that's there was. It would have been nice to have all your guys last night. You didn't. They didn't have all their guys either. They found a way to win. They really did. They found a way to win, and unfortunately that everybody's going to focus on the last drive. But there were some guys on defense when you watch the game played well. Played well enough that that you could say, okay, that wasn't a complete bust. I can understand why Diggs got after Mike Leslie. I can get it after watching the game today. I can understand why he was a little upset by what was going on there. So
yeah, I could tell last night because I was just early in the game. I noticed they run those condensed formations and your corners have to be involved, and they're bringing use check out on him, and he's blowing him up. And so I see it 2 ways. One, I can tell you that's why Diggs was upset because he's like, holy crap, for the first time ever, I was out there sacrificing myself and fighting and scrapping,
tackling,
not just out there and tackling, and not just out there to play coverage. And so I get that in his mind, it's what the hell.
Yeah.
This is the best I've ever done that. And then the rest of it, it's there's also a reason the tweet went out, and it's because that is who you've been as a player pretty much every game of your career. You can be questioned about that.
He's played far worse. He's played far worse than the physicality aspect of a game, and caught no strays, caught no strays on those.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Cowboys. You lost, you won. You tried your best. Oh, I did see this from RJ Ochoa. It's a neat stat. The NFL record for most games in a season by a team with 70 or fewer rushing yards and 180 or more rushing yards allowed is 6. The Cowboys have done it 4 times in 7 games. So you are right. You're barreling down the road of being the worst running and run-stopping team in the history of football. So we got that going for us.
I kind of feel like, though, Jeff, and I'll ask you this question, they're not trading for a back, are they? They're going to let this.
I don't think they're trading for anything.
They're going to let this thing ride. They're just going to let this thing ride.
I don't think they're trading for anything. Jerry told you that this was what was going to happen. 3-8 is happening from C Black. No, Jerry told you that this was.
It's funny to see that Florida State logo. Is that a 1-8 or 1-19? What's Florida State's record now? I saw that Florida State. They get my man. Thanks for thanks for chiming in. But my man is struggling. If he's a Cowboy fan and a Florida State fan, he is not living life right now. It is a trouble.
They were 1-4.
I think they're 1-7 now.
Miami, the other 1-7. 1-7. Yeah.
My man ain't living right.
Look at Brian taking shots at the listener.
I'm just saying, hey, I'm an LSU guy. We ain't living right either right now. I mean, that wasn't good. That wasn't good enough.
All right, thanks, Brian. Have a great day. We'll try.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate it, man. We'll be better. Take care. Right.
Thank you to we got Caleb. We got another one right on cue blaming Zeke. No one did that. And C Black 2-10 for us. All right. Yeah. Well, kick ass. Remember, you have no idea what anyone's going through, so be cool to everyone. We love you. Shout out to Zeke's 3.4 yards per carry. Be easy. That was a shot at Zeke.